Hello, dear students. Today in this video, we'll be discussing about perception and imagery. Basically, we'll be discussing about the selective perception, consumer imagery, and if we have time, we'll be discussing about the brand image, or else I'll cover that thing in the next video. Now, let's move forward. So, what is selective perception, basically? If I have to explain you the meaning of selective perception, we can describe as like selective perception refers to the tendency of individuals to notice, interpret, and remember information their or that matches our existing beliefs, attitudes, needs, and expectation, while ignoring information that contradict them. So, if I have to explain the selective perception in a very simple way, or in a layman language, that we can see is like people see what they want to see, as I have mentioned in the slide also. What we see only what we want to see, basically. If we are not interested, we may ignore that thing, so we may not see that thing. So basically, why selective perception is uh, occurs, basically. There are certain things because of that selective perception occurs. Those are like our brain cannot process all the information. We may be receiving hundreds of thousands of information in a day, but we cannot process all the information. We focus on what is relevant to us. If it is not relevant to us, we may not give importance. Also, we prefer information that supports our views. So if it is not supporting our views, we may not give importance to that information. Moving forward, there are basically some components of selective perception. I have mentioned there are basically four components of selective perception. First one is selective exposure. Second one is selective attention. Once I will first I will tell you the major types, then I'll be explaining you slowly. So first one was selective exposure. Second one was selective attention. Third one is selective interpretation, and the fourth one is selective retention. So, what is selective exposure? Selective exposure is basically people expose themselves to the information they agree with. For example, suppose a person watches news channel that supports their opinion. If you are suppose if they are talking, if that news channel is talking about suppose particular information they are talking about, and you are interested, then only you'll be interested to watch that particular news channel. But if that news channel is saying something which is you do not support, you may not be interested to watch that particular channel. Coming back to the second type, that's selective attention. Selective attention is basically people notice only certain stimuli, not everything. For example, a hungry person notices food adds more compared to a person who is not in hungry at that right moment or at that time. Third one is the selective interpretation. That is basically people interpret information in their own way. If I have to give example, suppose two people interpret the same ads in different way. One person can take it in a positive way, and the another one can take it in a negative way. And the fourth one is selective retention. That is basically people remember information that supports their belief. For example, remembering only positive reviews. Suppose if I want to buy something and I'm liking that particular brand, I have suppose I'm being biased to a particular brand. I have some interest on that particular brand. I will be just reading or following the positive reviews, whatever is there, instead, and I will be ignoring the negative reviews. Let's move forward. There are some roles as well as advantage and disadvantage of selective perception. So at first, I'll be explaining about the roles. Roles are basically first one is shapes brand loyalty. Second one is influences buying decision, and the third one is basically effective the advertising effectiveness. So basically, these are some of the roles of selective perception. Um, I hope you are clear. If I don't need to explain anymore. If you have any doubt, please let me know. I will try to clarify your doubts. And while talking about the advantages, is basically selective perception. It reduces our mental overload because we are already interested in selectively choosing certain things, not everything. So it is basically reducing our mental load. Also, it helps us to make quick decision making instead of selecting from hundreds of information. If you are only selecting, suppose, for example, three or two, four information or any object, then it is easy for us to take the decision. But there are some disadvantages as well. First advantage is basically it leads to biasness. You can be biased towards particular brand or particular product. So this is one of the disadvantages. Second one is it causes misunderstanding. And the third one is another disadvantage. Basically, it blocks new learning because I am already interested or selectively trying to get something or learn. I'm selecting certain information. I am maybe yeah, reducing or I'm not being much interested to learn new information. That is basically that's how I will not be able to learn, or I'm basically blocking the new information, new learning. I hope you are clear with these things. To in this video, I will cover this much only. In the next video, I'll be explaining about consumer imagery. Also, the another topic, brand image. I hope you are clear. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section, and I will try to clear your doubts, or I'll make another video. Let me know. Thank you so much.